Aparna, let's start with this. You are a Lakers super fan. We all know that. But tell us about creating India's first Lakers themed basketball court. How did you even come up with this idea?
Can there be any other choice? I had absolutely no other choices at all in my mind when I knew that I was going to build something for my kids. It's definitely going to have to be the Lakers color. That's the only option that I give them.
Huh.
A little authoritarian, you could say, but no, I give them the facility of playing in a really, really beautiful court, and in my own way, also teach them about the Lakers and maybe create extra fans over here.
Okay. No, that's awesome. And can you just tell us about how before going into the court, we talk a lot about the court, but how and when did you become a Lakers fan, and when did that fandom convert into super fandom?
So I became a Lakers fan 42 years ago when my cousin actually shared those tapes, videotapes, VHS tapes. Her brother used to live in Boston and she was a Boston fan. But when she saw this little kid who was actually trying to learn to play basketball and kind of interested in the sport, she shared those tapes for me to watch. And it was that Magic Johnson and Larry Bird rivalry. And it was singularly that one player, Magic Johnson, with his smile to light up the entire United States, actually, and with all those beautiful passing skills that made me fall in love with the sport and also fall in love with the Lakers. And I'm not a bandwagon fan. For me, I'm always a fan for life. It's a franchise fan. So I fell in love with the sport. And when I started playing more and more of basketball, and with that love for the Lakers and being able to, my dad gave me a beautiful opportunity to go and visit the United States. And a friend of mine took me he had season tickets for the game. So he took me to see the Western Conference Finals between Portland and Lakers. And, I was about 7 rows off the court. And when you could see the sweat fall off Magic Johnson's, face and things like that, it's just something just kind of goes, it just clicks. You just can't get away from that magic,
Okay, that's a good
That's
pun.
how.
That's a good pun.
Yeah, you can't. And to see him do his brand of magic live on the court, it just stays with you forever. And the more opportunities I got to visit the US and things like that, I did go on an NBA pilgrimage wherein I visited several cities, watching several games. But it's always the fact that my base is going to be LA, and I'm going to watch as many games as possible, either when it was the Great Western Forum, and then the Staples Center, and now at the Crypto Arena. So I make it a point to visit and see as many games as possible.
Okay, awesome. Now coming to the court itself, now the venue is the Sridhar Natrajan basketball facility at the Pioneer Trust campus in Coimbatore, right? So can you first tell us about basketball in Coimbatore, because it is a very hugely passionate basketball city, right? So can you just tell us about basketball in Coimbatore itself? Like people seem to love it a lot there.
Yes, basketball is in Coimbatore has a very, very rich heritage, and in fact, it has a very deep-rooted history. Interestingly, it was actually Chennai that housed the first basketball court in India in YMCA, the Harry Buck court, and they had the Buck Memorial Tournament. But Coimbatore fell in love with the sport many, many decades ago, and people like Mr. Venkatakrishnan, who was also a football referee and a basketball referee and coach, he really taught the players how to play the game with a lot of fundamentals. So when you see the players coming from Coimbatore, you will notice that the fundamentals are rock solid here. Wherein when you look at the rest of the states, they may play with a lot more heart, a lot more passion and things like that. When you see the beauty of the game and the fundamentals, you'll find it in Coimbatore. Also, another thing is during the summer, and not just during the summer, there are several tournaments that are being held throughout the year, nearly 60 plus tournaments that happen in the city of Coimbatore itself. And we have 2 All India tournaments that happen. One is the PSG All India tournament that happens every year. We also have the Nachimuthu Gounder tournament that happens every year, and also the CRA Pumps one for women as well.
Okay, and now coming to your court,
very rich heritage.
I know, I can see that. No, so that's the thing. It's kind of fitting that a court like this is in Coimbatore, and it's obviously not a coincidence as well. Now, based on the pictures that you have shared with me and the videos that I've seen also, it looks like you have one full court and you have one 3x3 half court. So can you just explain the thought process, especially on why this combination?
Yes, Gopal, good thing that you asked me, because 3x3 is the fastest growing urban sport in the world. And I truly believe that we Indians are more primed to play a better brand of basketball when it comes to the 3x3 itself rather than the 5-on-5. Simply because we are more primed, our bodies are more primed for that kind of a sport. The physicality and the hand-eye coordination and everything, we are more primed for this. 10 minutes of intense activity, using a lot of skills. This is something that we can actually train our athletes for. And ironically, it's a lot of people think that if you play 5-on-5 and if you're good at it, it automatically makes you a good 3x3 player. That's not the case. You need two entirely different skill sets. I truly believe that you have to train them earlier on. Yes, you train them with the fundamentals and stuff like that. But at some point in time, you need to make the choice and diversify and intensify your training towards either 5-on-5 or 3x3. I would certainly say that having a specialized 3x3 skill set will stand us in good stead, because this is where we see us going to the podium and picking up a lot of international laurels going forward. So I personally believe that I must provide that opportunity, because the 3x3 court is smaller than the half court of a regular 5-on-5. Your spatial awareness and your skill sets have to also be in tune with that. So I'd rather have one facility like that, which is purely dedicated for that purpose, and you have your 5-on-5. You can't separate both without the hoop and the basket, yes. But the skill sets can be separated, the talent can be separated, and we can groom them accordingly.
Okay, awesome. And the court has been named after a basketball coach, Mr. Sridhar Natrajan. So can you tell us about him and his contribution to the sport?
Absolutely. Sridhar Natrajan is a gentleman from Chennai, and you won't believe he started coaching at the age of 18. If you were to see him play, I would personally say his game is very much like Jason Williams, White Chocolate. That's the kind of game and excitement that he brings. So when I joined college, mine is pretty much a self-taught version of basketball. It was only when I joined college that I had a proper coach in Sridhar, and he actually fine-tuned my game and taught me a lot of skills that made me the player I was to become. And one thing about Sridhar Natrajan is really off the charts. And I've seen a lot of coaches all over the country. He's a very quiet man, very unassuming, but his IQ, basketball IQ, is really off the charts, because he has spoken to us and taught us so many things that today YouTube experts and coaches on international coaches are saying this is how you should do execute a proper technique and things like that. But he did this a long time ago, and more than anything else, he has had the number of years behind him and also dedicated his entire life to coaching kids who are underprivileged. He coaches them free, physically challenged kids, mentally challenged children, and the children just come alive when he teaches them. So when you go and see, his youngest kid is probably 3 years old on the court. By the time they're 10, you should see the kind of basketball they play and the kind of techniques and the style they bring in. It's outstanding. So he, in Tinagar, actually in Chennai, he coaches, and he has over 150 kids right now training only in a half court, because that's how much space he gets. Yet those kids are, playing so well and creating waves. So many of his children have started playing for the district, for the state, even for India. In fact, we have one child who is now playing for India. The last time I saw that kid, he was about 3.5 or 4 years old. But today he plays for under 16 India, and I think my heart just was I was so proud, really. In fact, his name is, give me a couple of seconds and the name will come to you. But he's playing so well. It's such a proud moment for us. So for a coach who's dedicated his life for basketball and changing the lives of so many kids in so many different ways, I thought it's befitting that I name the court after him and dedicate it to him. We have a culture of doing these things only when a person is dead and gone, We say, oh, he was so good, he was so great. I don't believe in that. I want to appreciate this gentleman as his old students. I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to appreciate him when he's around. He had to know that he was appreciated.
No, that's wonderful, and you're so right. We normally have a tendency to sort of value people's contributions only after they're gone. What was his reaction to this quote? and seeing his name there. I mean, being a court being named, that must be like a dream for any basketball player or coach, right? To have a facility named after them.
Absolutely. He was actually clueless. I tricked him. I said, I'm going to open the court. Please come for the court opening. And he was wondering who's going to open the court. And I had his first batch of students come in, and then so on and so forth. And even the next generation, which are my children, they were also there for the inauguration. And my teachers were there, and also my PDs were there. Our managing trustee and our family was there. So when I told him, Coach, come and open this board. Hey, where is everyone? Who's going to open? So I said, no, you're the one who's going to open. So he said, okay, and he opened. He never saw the sign. And I asked him to read the sign, and then he was in shock. And then the tears started flowing. Everyone was crying. Never, there wasn't a dry eye over there, because it was such an emotional moment. And I think it's one of the most beautiful moments, because I will carry this forever with me, this memory.
No, this is wonderful. And it shows, right, the kind of people that he trained, people like you. Right, it shows that how good his coaching must have been, that you still remember him and you still value him. So it all reflects on his character, reflects on yours as well. So wonderful, because one thing that we notice is that in India there's this huge gap between NBA fandom and Indian basketball, right? It's like oil and water, like two very distinct. But I think you have merged this beautifully in terms of following the best Indian traditions of the Guru Shishya, respecting your coaches, teachers, at the same time not moving away from your Lakers fandom. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, you can't remove the baller or the Laker away from me. So that is there to stay. If you even see the golf balls that I play with, they look like tiny basketballs. So you can't remove that from me.
Okay, so coming to the court construction itself, because we are still learning how to construct basketball courts in a sort of modern way, right? So I just want to understand from you a couple of things. One is, in terms of the court construction itself, what were some of the challenges that you faced in terms of designing it or setting it up? Or A, was it a challenge? And B, also, I think you did a lot of fundraising and you found sponsors and donors to help build this court. So can you just take us through this, both of these aspects?
Sure, Gopal. The trust that I run is actually for underprivileged kids and the lower economic strata of society. So we have a lot of kids who are studying, whose parents are both daily wage workers. Some of them are single parents and things like that. Our fee structure is very, very limited. And with that, you really cannot make any strides. So I've been in charge of this trust for the past 2 years, and it was ironic that we didn't have a basketball court, and that was really bothering me. So when I mooted this idea, in fact, I'm using sport to change the ecosystem of the entire place, because especially after COVID, which is when I came in, we had a lot of behavioral issues. And not only that, we have, of course, all the social ills that come along with the developing right now. And also the issue of, evils like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So I wanted to use sport as that platform that will guide my kids and make them pick the right path rather than letting them go astray. So my campus opens at probably 6 o'clock in the morning, and we shut down by 6:30 in the evening. So when light fails. So I wanted to keep the children in the campus engaged in physical activity, so that they will make the right choices and fall in love with playing itself and be children rather than aging much faster than they actually should be. So I clearly wanted a basketball court, and when I spoke to my trustees and my friends, many of them supported me, and they came out openly and said, listen, it's it's basketball and it's sport, in that order. So we will do the best we can. And they came forward and gave me donations. And of course, I didn't meet the entire target of what I needed to achieve to build a lot of other things that I would have required. But this was good enough. I had a very clear-cut plan, because I've been in the sport for this long. I know exactly what I wanted. So I was very, very clear on how I wanted the court built and where I wanted it built. And I was very sure that I wanted a 5-on-5 and a 3x3 simultaneously, because if you get into it and start doing it by bits and pieces, sometimes it'll never see the light of the day. I just had to take the plunge and, just go after my heart and get it done. And then meet with the challenges that come as we start finishing and things like that. The only challenge we faced at that point in time was the incessant rains, but which was delaying the process itself. But I did find a very, very good contractor who understood the assignment very well and took on the challenge of making sure that the surfaces were beautiful and very well constructed. So even if it rains heavily, the drainage of water is amazing. There are barely any puddles on the court. And that one or two small puddles that we have are not very deep puddles, but very shallow puddles. All you need to do is take a broom and wipe it off and it's dry.
Okay.
So that was something that we did. And also I made sure that give provisions already for, lighting for tomorrow, and also make provision for an enclosure, and also to see if we could raise a roof over the 3x3 facility. So we've made provisions for all of that as well.
Okay, yeah, that actually leads perfectly into my next question. You had sort of told me that you're planning a mural, right? So what are some of your plans? And you also mentioned covering the court. So, but how do you see this space evolve in coming years?
In the coming years, I actually see I don't see a covering coming over the 5-on-5 at this point in time, but definitely the 3-on-3, I'm looking at something of an artistic yet airy covering that will come up, and I want to have a blend of modernistic as well as a little bit rooted, because it is in the rural area. I want to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing as well. So I'm also trying to see at a later date to find the right artist to do the murals for me. That will be great, because I've also asked the students of Stella Maris College Fine Arts Department to come up with designs for the boards itself, not the boards, the posts. So they're also working on that. Soon we'll have something happening on the artistic end as well.
Okay, and do you have any players in mind who are going to feature in these murals? Any personal favorites?
Yeah, actually, I'm torn between a few choices. See, my heart says go Lakers. And then one part of me says, how can I forget my Indian greats? So, I'm trying to figure and actually see, it's okay for me to say, hey, the Lakers are a great team. They're my team, and you should also start following. But I don't want them to forget all those players that came before us, who wore our Indian colors and made our country proud. So I have to figure out how I can bring in both without, too much of clashes here and there. It has to be pleasing on both ends.
Yeah, no, it's a good dilemma to have.
Yeah.
I think this is a good confusion for you to have. So, but I do have one fun question to you. If you could get one Lakers legend to visit your court, who would it be and why?
At this point in time, since Kobe is not there, it would be Magic.
Okay.
Definitely Magic for me, because he's the one that made me fall in love with the sport and the Lakers. So Magic over anyone else.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, I can see obviously a lot of Lakers memorabilia. I mean, you're wearing a LeBron jersey, right?
Yes.
And then there's a Lakers. Can you just quickly show us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can see this one of the Lakers ball itself, and that one is a Kobe ball. Yeah. I have a pennant over here and a flag over here. And I have a whole load of memorabilia, scattered all over the house. And this is my laptop cover. And so in the background, I have my Mamba Mentality book, and I have something of ESPN special edition release of Kobe Bryant. I have some Kobe Bryant, pen holders and stuff like that. And I have another a figurine over here of Kobe playing ball. And the newest one in my collection is this one, which is an autographed picture of LeBron James. It was gifted to me by a friend. It's been authenticated as well. This is red hot because it's only 3 days old with me right now. So I just got lucky with this.
Awesome. So just on before we sort of wind up, a couple of questions. So one is, in a broader sense, it's really hard to be an NBA fan generally in India, although it has become easier now in the last 10 years with games being streamed. But to be a super fan of one particular team, it must have been exceptionally hard, right? So, if there's a young boy or girl today who not just NBA, could be a WNBA fan as well. Like how does that fan navigate in terms of getting memorabilia or following their favorite team? What is your advice to NBA super fans of this generation or the upcoming generation? How do they maintain their passion for the game? Because in India, it's very hard, right? You are looked at as sort of like a weirdo or an exception because everyone is just into cricket and other sports. So what's your general advice to kids growing up who are NBA fans or fans of particular teams or players?
It's actually, Gopal, the funny thing is right now we see more bandwagon fans and fans who are player-specific fans. So they move along with the player, So it's very hard to find someone, irrespective of the wins and the losses, to stay loyal to their team. So first of all, that is the biggest challenge. And in this day where, your attention span is very limited and very less and getting shorter and shorter, having them, fall in love with a specific team and staying true to it is also a huge challenge. But of course, memorabilia per se, now you have a lot of options where you can buy them online, like NBA.com has, NBA Store itself has, NBA India Store has. But of course, NBA India Store doesn't have as many, the variety is not as much. But you have Shop the Arena also that has rights to a few teams. I think they don't have for all the teams, but they have for Lakers. So that much I'm happy about. And you have quite a few of those. But the only thing is, when you bring it in from NBA Store, the US side, you may have some customs duties sometimes that come. But if you're going to pick up memorabilia like say for example, things like this, then
you can't pick that up. Come on, stop rubbing it in. Stop rubbing it in. How can you?
No, I'm just saying, because there are people. No, there are people who want to pay that kind of money and get it, but unless you are over there, it's not easy, or you have an insider over there who's willing to pick up and make these plates for you and get it. It's not easy at all. I just got lucky. I have a super friend as well, so yeah. But I do have some interesting memorabilia, but maybe you can see it here. You can see the Harlem Globetrotters ball in the background.
Wow, yeah.
That one is an autographed ball, which they gave me in appreciation of my services to the team, because I was their liaison officer when they came to India.
Oh, wow.
And I have a pair of Air Force Ones signed by Bruce Kilgore, who is the father of Air Force Ones and supposed to be the design god of sneakers. And I also have a bottle over there. If you can see, it's a sipper bottle.
Yeah.
That one is by the father of mountain biking, Gary Fisher.
Okay.
So an autographed one from there, and I have some others all over the place.
Wow, amazing. So, but
yes,
again,
a lot of women. Yeah.
No, sorry. So I just wanted to again thank you and good luck with your quote, because I think it's pretty epic that we have a Lakers themed quote. Just for context, I think there is a similar purple and gold color code in Nagpada Basketball Association in Mumbai. I think they also have purple and gold, but it's not the entire court, I think. So I think that way, I think yours is still historic in terms of the Indian context. So yeah, congrats and good luck with whatever you have planned next. Any last thing you'd like to share with us?
Yes, Gopal, the 3x3 court is of an international standard, and I made sure to get a court which is like really solid. It has been we had it imported from abroad, so and it's FIBA approved as well, so we are good to go with even international tournaments and things like that. So I'm not in favor of dismantling it and renting it out and things like that. I want it there, and I want people to come and enjoy there. So I've in fact thrown open the facility to a lot of basketballers who would like to come and host tournaments and things like that. I'm happy to welcome them, because the sport has to be enjoyed by many.
Yeah, and I hope NBA is also listening to this, because I mean, maybe they can have a Coimbatore NBA India facility in Coimbatore, or at your place. Why not?
Sure, why not? I'd be happy to welcome them, and we do have enough facilities to make that happen as well. So very confidently, I would say welcome NBA India to Coimbatore.
Okay, awesome, lovely. Thanks, Aparna.
Thank you very much, Gopal. Really appreciate it.